Hi everyone, I am Father J. Boy Gonzalez. I'm a Jesuit priest and the director of the Ignatian Spirituality and Formation Office of the Ateneo de Davao University. The prayer that we will use is called a preparatory prayer. It is taken from the spiritual exercises of Saint Ignatius of Loyola. Jesuits usually use this prayer to begin classes, meetings, spiritual activities, and events. It says that whatever we do should begin and end through God. And that is exactly what we want and hope for in this activity. May I ask the Catholics to mark themselves with the sign of the cross, while the others might put themselves in their own proper disposition. And so, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, Amen. Dear Lord, we ask you to help orient all our actions by your holy inspirations. Carry them out by your gracious assistance, that every prayer and work of ours may always begin from you and through you be happily ended. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, Amen. Enjoy this event.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Yehey! Welcome to everyone and welcome to Bet Mo Ba Siya? Kwentuhang Eleksyon. I am Father J. Boy Gonzalez. I'm the director of the Ignatian Spirituality and Formation Office of the Ateneo de Davao University. And my co-host is Yana Rubio. Yana, pakilala ka naman.
Hello, good afternoon po sa ating lahat. Good afternoon, Father J-Boy. I am Yana Rubio. I am the Araling Panlipunan Coordinator of St. Scholastica's College, Manila. Ayan, Father, masaya akong kasama ka ngayon today. Kamusta naman po kayo?
Okay naman ako, Yana. Sa totoo lang, nakaka-excite kasi ang dami nating nanonood ngayon at nakikinig. Lalo-lalo na ang mga taong, di ba, mga ating mga bata na talagang kailangan na kailangan kayo sa ating bansa. So, first of all, welcome everyone from the whole Philippines. From Batanes, the northernmost, to Jolo, the southernmost. Welcome to our students from the Catholic school, especially because this event is being streamed on the Facebook page of the Catholic Educational Association of the Philippines, and yes, the Association of Major Religious Superiors of the Philippines, di ba? Hindi lang yan. Hindi lang ang kayong mga
Yes,
nasa
meron
eskwelahan
pa.
ang nandito ni Mariana.
Yes,
Sige,
Father,
sino pa ba?
meron pa. We also welcome our youth from the parishes because this is also streamed on the Facebook page of the CBCP's Episcopal Commission on the Youth. So, kung di pa sila convinced, Father, kung bakit kailangan nilang bumoto, tamang-tama ang ating session sa araw na ito. Sama-sama tayong pag-usapan kung bakit kailangan nating magparehistro at higit sa lahat, bumoto ng tama. Di ba, Father J-Boy?
Oh, tama. Kasi ang pinaka-importante ngayon ay
Yes.
makita natin sa ating sarili kung bakit nga ba kailangan kong bumoto. Meron bang katuturan? Is voting something very meaningful to us? What will it do if I vote for somebody?
Yes, Father.
Will it change my life? Will it change my family? Will it change, our country or even the world, di ba? Because all our leaders has relationship with the outside
Yes,
world.
Father, that's
with,
true.
di ba? And ang maganda dito, guys, honestly, you are very important. We are not just kidding. You're not just the youth. You are very important in the life of our country. And the good thing about this show, about bet mo siya, kaya sabi namin, bet mo siya, usapang eleksyon, because we heard you. Napakinggan ka namin. Why do we say that? Because we have collected your questions from the registration forms. O nga pala, please register in our event now so that you will be getting the evaluations and e-certificates. Di ba, Yana? Because your questions are very important to us, di ba? Mas maganda na pinapakinggan natin ang boses ninyong mga bata. Because it tells us how are we going to love you, what are your concerns, and also how are we, because guys, kaedad ko po yung mga parents ninyo. I am 52 years old. I'm Generation X. Samantalang kayo, you are Generation Z. Diba?
Parang di naman halata, Father. Parang Gen Z ka pa rin eh.
Yun na nga, kunwari nagpapabata lang ako. Sige na nga, libre naman ang mangarap, hindi ba? Pero we hope na, na at least in this event, guys, we will be able to answer your questions. At ang maganda dito, matatanda ba ang mga sasagot sa iyong mga tanong? Ang maganda, titinan din natin, anong sagot kaya ng kapwa ninyong bata about your concerns, di ba? Who will be answering them, Yana?
Father, we are so blessed today to have 6 outstanding and brilliant student leaders from across the country. No, batang-bata rin yung ating mga kasama ngayon sa ating chilkahan. No, sila ay galing sa Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao. Talagang sinuyod natin ang buong Pilipinas para makita natin kung ano ba talaga ang mga pananaw ng mga kabataan at mga pangarap nila para sa kanilang sarili at bayan. So siguro, Father, pwede na natin silang ipakilala. Let's start off with the student leaders from Visayas. We have today Shania Louis Tapan. Shania is a judiciary member of the University Student Government of the University of St. Lasal, Bacolod City. Welcome, Shania! Hello, kamusta? Hi! Hello.
Everyone. Hello, Father, and hello, Miss Aliana. And to all the viewers of today's event, maayong hapon kag kabay pa nga maayo lang kamuta. Again, I am Shania Louis Tapan, a 4th year Bachelor of Arts in Political Science and Bachelor of Science in Business Administration major in Business Economics. Currently, I am the Associate Judge of the USLS Student Court, but I don't associate myself as a judgmental person. Take note of that. And that, anyways,
hindi daw siya judgmental.
Opo. Disclaimer po.
Well, relevant din naman po siya in today's event, knowing that we are going to exchange opinions and pour out ideas out there through our screens to encourage the fellow Filipino youth to vote and participate in nation building. And siguro with the things I'm busy right now are handling youth orgs and campaigning for human rights, women empowerment, and youth participation. And of course, ACADS. Hello to my pulse na yan, Bros. Kaya po with my work, I think of this as a crucial job as a student leader and community organizer. And as someone who envisions the empowered youth participating in a rights-based democratic governance, my effort and pursuit continues. Thank you.
Wow.
Yes. Sana maririnig natin yan uli. Mamaya siya, Nia, no? na ma-share nyo sa ating lahat ay yung pangarap at saka pero ma-expound kung anong ibig sabihin doon para sa ating mga nanonood,
Yes.
hindi ba? Pero meron akong tanong kasi alam nyo po ba na sa Bacolod masarap ang pagkain? Pero sabi namin, chill lang ang conversation natin. Hindi dito yung parang merong presentation. Nagkikwentuhan tayo
Yes.
tungkol sa inyong mga tanong dito sa show na to. Kaya may tanong ako, anong dala-dala mong meron ka bang pagkain dyan o kaya ano, at least nagdala ako ng tubig. Meron din akong kape kasi I like coffee.
Same,
Nia, ikaw ang
Father.
dala mo?
Nia? Nako.
Kasi
Hello,
we're
Nia.
casual
Yan.
conversation. Kaya ayun.
Anong dala mo? Kape ba yan?
Ah,
O tsaa?
coffee
Ako
or
parang
Yes po, coffee yung
kape rin. Kape rin ang
Kape nga,
dala ni
kape.
Nia, Father. Opo.
Yeah.
Kasi
Ikaw yan, ang dala mo?
Ay, Father, kape rin ako. Same lang with Nia, no? Para manatili tayong gising at mulat ang diwa ngayong hapong ito. Cheers to that.
wala
Oo nga.
akong
Siguro malalaman natin kung
Di na orient.
yung ibang mga kasama natin ay yun din ang dala, kape ba?
Yes
Kasi
po, yes
sure
po.
ako na mga bata ngayon talagang makape, hindi ba? You love
Opo.
coffee.
Opo.
So let's see. Meron ba tayong ibang kasama?
Yes, another student leader from Visayas, Father, is Michelle Aubrey Vergara, a fourth-year political science major from the University of San Carlos, Cebu City. Hello, Michelle.
Hello po, everyone.
Ayan,
Good
nandiyan na si
afternoon.
Michelle. Good afternoon,
Hello,
Michelle.
Good afternoon, Father. Hello, Miss Eliana.
Hi, Michelle.
Again, I'm Michelle from the University of San Carlos. I am a fourth-year political science student, major in law and policy studies. In my free time, I love to read, but recently I don't have free time, so I read my textbooks and references for school. But if ever I have the time, which is quite rare, I sleep na lang instead to regain the energy I lost. I think maraming nakaka-relate
Same.
yan, especially for
Hashtag
college
relate.
students. Yes po.
Naku, yung susunod nating guest ay taga Cotabato. I've been to Cotabato. Guys, alam nyo ba na pag pumunta kayo sa Barm, marami kayong makita, napakaganda. Ang tanawin, ang gaganda ng mosque nila. You can go to Cotabato City. Ang ganda ng mosque nila. It's something that we have to know, especially if you're coming from Luzon. Bakit taga Luzon pa ako? I'm a Bicolano. And then I get to be surprised because apart from what we always hear on, di ba, on national TV and the news about what is happening in Mindanao, with all the scary news that we hear, you get to discover that it's not everything. You'll get to see the beauty of Cotabato, especially when you talk to people. And we have a guest here. Her name is Mariel. Mariel Española. She's the auditor of the Supreme Student Council Tertiary Department of Notre Dame of the Religious of the Virgin Mary College of Cotabato. Of course, Mariel, kumusta kaayo?
Maayo, Father.
Ay, maayong
Maayo
hapon
japon.
kanimo. May japon. Kumusta di man
Yes.
gaulan karon?
Di man pud, Father.
Kay maayo man ang atong adlaw karon kay naman ka diri. So maybe you can introduce yourself and you can come and introduce yourself to many of our listeners from all over the Philippines.
Yes, to all the viewers out there, to Father and to Ate Aliana, maayong hapon. Asalam. Good afternoon, everyone. Praise be Jesus and Mary. I am Mariel C. Española, a fourth-year student taking Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English. Like what Father said, I am a Supreme Student Council Auditor in Notre Dame RVM College of Cotabato.
Teacher din
Maraming
pala.
salamat, Mariel. Oo nga, di ba? Anong dala-dala mo ngayon? Sabi namin kasi, mga kaibigan na, chill lang tayo, kaya nagdadala tayo ng mainumin. Okay, anong dala-dala? Meron ka bang dala-dala?
Healthy to siya, Father.
Anong healthy?
Ay, Coke. Healthy,
Nagdala ka,
healthy.
Yung healthy.
Pero regular yan, regular. Sa akin, bawal sa akin yan kasi diabetic ako. So once
Diet
again,
Coke.
thank you very much, Mariel. Yeah.
Yes.
Of course, meron tayong mga guests galing Luzon, hindi ba Yana?
Yes, of course, Father, no? Siyempre, simulan natin yan from the National Capital Region. We have Jeric R. Rabe, the Vice President for Internal Affairs of the BA Communications Society from the St. Paul University, Quezon City. Welcome, Jeric! Kumusta?
Hello, magandang
Taas
hapon
ng
sa inyong
energy.
lahat.
I love the energy.
hello po, Father, and to all of our viewers and to our dear moderators and our co-speakers. And again, I am Jeric Rabe, no, from St. Paul University, Quezon City, and I am a third-year student from Bachelor of Arts in Communication, and currently, ako po ay tulad nga ng sabi ni Miss Aliana, is the Vice President for Internal Affairs, no. I am looking forward and I am very very excited for today kasi na sa rehearsals pa lang kahapon, marami na akong insights na nakuha paano pa kaya ngayon. So I am very looking forward to what we're going to discuss today.
Sige, ito natin tinatanong namin. Jeric, anong dala-dala mong pagkain?
Ako po, ang dala ko po ngayon ay salabat kasi meron akong ubo. So, para
Healthy,
malabanan. Healthy talaga.
Yeah. Pero hindi, Jeric, maganda yan para sa ating mga viewers. Alam niyo po ba na ang salabat ay nakakatulong hindi lang sa ating throat, di ba? Lalo-lalo kapag lagi tayong online. Pero nakakatulong din yan sa tiyan. Lalo pag masakit yung tiyan mo, it really helps. Lalo na kapag, well, kung conscious ka na ayaw mo nagbo-bloat, uminom ka ng salabat para lumiit yung tiyan mo. Di ba?
Exactly po, Father.
May health
Diba?
tips din pala from Father today.
Of course, di ba? Siyempre, promote healthy food and drink. So,
Yes, of course. Ayan, thank you so much, Jeric, no? So ngayon kasama rin natin, Father, another student leader from Luzon, further south. We have Joshua Mark A. Bautista, the Minister on Education and Trainings of the Central Student Government of the Universidad de Santa Isabel, Naga City. Hello and welcome, Joshua.
Hello everyone.
Ayan.
Marami na hapon sa Indoga Boss. I am Joshua Mark A. Bautista and I am from Universidad de Santa Isabel and I'm currently taking a Bachelor of Secondary Education majoring in Science.
Wow.
So ayan, I also look forward with meeting everyone, especially mamaya ata ang dami nating question and answer or mga giving of sharing experience and inputs. And of course to our Facebook Live viewers and to our YouTube viewers, hello everyone, and marhay na hapon.
yes, Joshua is
Sure
my
did.
kababayan.
Wow.
Though he is studying in Naga, he's really from Albay, where where you will find Mayon volcano, Nax, di ba? Ganyan. Pero meron akong tanong, alam niyo ba ang Albayano ay mayaman daw? Alam mo bakit?
Bakit,
Alam niyo bakit
Father?
mayaman? Kasi kami lagi
Bakit
kami,
po?
I'll buy this, I'll buy that. Di ba?
Impulsive buyer pala. Mayaman nga ang mga taga-Albay.
Mayaman, di ba? Yaman, grabe.
Thank you so
the
much.
last but not the least, I'd like to welcome my student. He is the Samahan president. Samahan is our student government. His course is AB Political Science, I'm sorry. And he's from Ateneo de Davao University. No other than my student. I'm very, very proud of this guy. Carlo Alessandro Di Torion. Hi, Carlo.
Welcome, Carlo.
Mayong hapon sa tanan. Medyo nakulbaan ko, Father, kay estudyante pa naman ko nimo, pero philosophy gyud ang imong giingon.
Lagot.
A third-year political science student and our Samahan president. I'm very happy to be with us today, hailing from the land of peace, a beautiful land, Mindanao. And of course, today is a very interesting discussion, and I'm excited for the things that we'll be discussing. Thank you so much.
You will be hearing more about Carlo and his advocacy. He will invite you later on, as well as all the others here will be sharing their advocacies I think maganda sa kabataan na meron talaga silang issue na binabantayan sa Pilipinas. Hindi ba,
Correct.
Yana, di ba?
Yes,
Pero
Father,
Carlo,
totoo
anong
po
dala-dala
yan.
mo? Tingnan natin, sigurado ko ba? Anong dala-dala mong drink mo ngayon na pagkain?
Hulaan mo, Father. Hulaan mo. Char lang.
Pinahirapan pa tayo.
Pinahirapan mo pa ako.
Mainit na tubig para sa isang
Tubig,
mainit na
tubig.
diskusyon.
Tubig.
Char lang, pero lang,
Okay.
tubig lang po. Para
Naks.
rehydrated.
Mainit na diskusyon eh. No, but water is very good. It's also equally healthy. Diba? If you drink a lot of water, actually it helps you when you study because it clears the mind. People do not know that water itself is very helpful in our studies. Okay, so now you heard more about our guest and from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. I'd like to say this, guys, that do you know that this event is a collaboration? It's a teamwork. And it is brought to you by, first of all, the Catholic Educational Association of the Philippines, the Association of Major Religious Superiors of the Philippines, and the Ignatian Spirituality and Formation Office of the Ateneo de Davao University. Diba? So, Yana,
Yes po, Father. And to those who registered in our event today, so please register ha. We will give out some prizes for the winners towards the end of our discussion. So stay until the very end. Malay nyo, baka manalo pa kayo ng premyo namin ngayong hapong ito.
diba? So let's dive right in para hindi na tayo tumagal.
Yes,
Pero
Father.
it's really good for many of our audience that we have a certain outline for our talk today para hindi
Yes.
tayo nagkakalat, di ba? Maganda kung meron kang organization. Simple
Yes.
lang ang mga tanong natin. Where we want to go, where we are, and how to get there. Meaning, where we are, we will be talking about your dreams first because without our dreams, we do not know what we want. And then we'll talk about our present situation. That means we will be answering many of your questions from the registration form. As I have said, guys, we really heard you. We want to answer your questions. And finally, the most important is to ask if we are clear about what our dreams are. And we are clear where we are now at this point, and we ask how far or how near are we from our dreams. Then we can ask, how do we get to that dream? How do we able to realize those dreams? And we are here to also discuss and maybe invite all of you to do some advocacies and suggestions that our guests may be able to suggest for all of you, di ba? So, let's dive right in. Okay, so
Yes,
we will
Father.
ask first this. Di ba pangarap, di ba? Importante pangarap. Meron ka bang pangarap sa buhay? O kaya ano bang pangarap mo sa ating bansa, di ba? Our goals are important because they set a certain direction. Hindi ka magkakalat, di ba? So ano yung pangarap mo sa iyong buhay at ano ang pangarap mo para sa iyong bansa? How do you see yourself in the future with this dream of yours? And sana many of our guests will be able to expound about your dreams. And sa inyong mga nanonood, don't forget to write down on the comment section below, wherever you are, in Facebook pages or in our YouTube, your comments. Do you agree with them? Or maybe not agree, but do you resonate with them, with their dreams? Pareho ba ang pangarap nyo sa pangarap nila? Yun ang pinakamahalagang makita natin sa ating unang-unang topic ngayong araw na to. O sige nga, magdi-dare ba ako sa inyo? O sana hindi to graded recitation.
Opo,
Di ba?
baka
Anong
kabahan sila
pangarap
lalo,
mo?
Father.
Di ba, Yana, ikaw? Anong pangarap mo?
Ang pangarap ko po ay mapayapang tulog at pahinga. Pero sa kabuuan po, mas maliwanag na bukas para sa Pilipinas. Pero tignan natin, Father, kung eto rin ba ang pangarap ng mga ating mga student leaders ngayong hapon. So, kanina kaya tayo pwede magsimula, Father?
Ikaw? Okay, sige.
Ako.
Pipili ako.
Ay.
Okay, sige. Carlo.
Ayan, may
Alam na,
nag-volunteer
syempre.
na po, finally.
Oo, di ba? Mahihiya naman ako kung yung estudyante ko hindi magbo-volunteer. Kasi, di ba, ang turo natin ay sana ang mga bata hindi natatakot magsabi at magsalita kung
Yes,
ano
mag-initiative.
naiisip nila. Di ba?
Tama
Importante
yan,
yan sa mental health.
Yes, of course.
Di ba? Okay, anak, go.
Okay, so let's first start kung sa akong pangarap, my dream for myself. I think I really discerned it for a long time, but I think na I'm very convinced as of the moment that I really want to work in government, particularly first in the local government. Dapat simulan sa local before you go to even bigger stages or ano ba. I want to be a person who works for government simply because I believe, and it's only a personal belief, that if I want to contribute to nation building, I should be part of the system, I should be part of the government. Siguro ang mahirap lang na yun is lang sinasabi sa akin na mahirap magtrabaho sa gobyerno dahil ang pera, practicality-wise, how are you going to earn for your family? And other than that, it's a system na medyo mahirap for a young leader like me. But I think na with this idealism, I hope na I could be able to work in government and also encourage people to work in government. Hence, here comes my dream. I think it's very personal since I come from Davao, I come from Mindanao, and I really dream of a Philippines within the next few years that we can be able to have more economic opportunities within Mindanao. Because napapansin ko din na maybe a lot of the opportunities are really coming from different regions. And I believe na we have to build ourselves first here in Mindanao before we go to other places within the Philippines. We have to give back to ourselves. And I hope na kanipod ang dreams sa akong mga Mindanaon, sa akong mga estudyante po sa Ateneo and other universities as well. So I hope that's okay lang, Pads, ko akong tubag since I am, of course, your student. Mindanao first. Kumanan to.
Yeah, no, honestly, no, there is no conflict when you're talking about your local dreams vis-a-vis the country. If you do something in your local areas, you are already affecting the whole country. Sino nagsabi nun? Si Saint Paul. Di ba sabi ni Saint Paul that we are of different parts, but we all belong to the body of Christ. So if a finger is affected, it's the whole body that is affected. And we also know that even in science, our nerve endings are in our fingers or in our feet. If you do something like reflexology, it affects the whole body. So that means there is no conflict between our local dreams vis-a-vis our country. And besides, di ba, yun naman ibig sabihin ng identity. Our identity is not about, it's not lost when it is about our country and our identity as a local person. Napaka-importante no na alam natin kung anong gusto natin sa ating sarili. Kaya sabi ko, government office. And napaka-Mindanawon po ang pangarap ni Carlo because of the opportunities that is needed for Mindanao. How about the others?
Tingnan natin, Father, baka may nakakatulad din, no? Almost nakaka-resonate din sa sinabi ni Carlo kanina. Sige. Meron ba sa ating mga student leaders sa almost similar sa mga pangarap na binanggit ni Carlo kanina?
Yeah.
Ayan si Nia.
Magandang
Alright,
hapon
Nia.
sa lahat.
Magandang hapon.
Well, of course, I actually resonate din sa kay Carlo, di ba? Knowing that he wants to serve in public office. And, well, as for me naman, I've always seen myself as an unconventional individual, ready to take on challenges. And even my friends see and think of me as a risk taker. Kaya yun. That's why as a political science student naman, and of course the opportunity to go to school here in Bacolod City, it exposed me to the realities of the lack of women's participation in democratic governance and even in spaces in our locality here. And what I want to do right now, in my dream, and what is currently I'm focusing on, is to focus on building safe spaces for different barangays and community, and basically build and foster more participation for women and for the youth, and actually as a whole that for the Philippines, to bring back the security that was once lost, and to build better connections and actually build this narrative full of realities where people can actually channel their comments, their stories, and it would be full of meaningful stories that could actually foster peace. So, ayun po yung sa akin.
Wow, ang ganda ng pangarap ni Nia. So far, ang nakikita natin dito, Father, parang talagang kung ano yung nakikita nila sa paligid nila, doon talaga nang gagaling yung mga pangarap ng mga kabataang ito. So let's see kung sa iba pa, meron din ba tayong similar experiences and insights or aspirations as that of Nia kanina? Sige, perhaps si
Yes,
Michelle can
I
share.
can go po.
Ayan, Michelle, sige.
Ay,
Nagkasabay na tayo.
nagkasabay
Sige.
po.
Okay.
So, okay lang po ba? Mauna muna
Sure,
po
go
sige.
ahead, Michelle.
I think po I resonate naman with the dreams of Nia and Carlo for the Philippines. Personally, I would want to see a Philippines wherein nobody is left behind. You know, every nook and cranny of the Philippines is experiencing progress po. I want us to be in this together, collectively experiencing progress. This has been my motivation as well to make a difference. It might be a little too idealistic, for example, or some would say that it is impossible. But, you know, I believe that the long way starts with a single step. You know, it's also similar with how I deal with my personal goal and my personal dream. It has always been my dream to become the first lawyer in our family, and I believe I am slowly getting there. My college program, for example, has law subjects. But then I think of all of those other students who are transitioning to online classes. I'm very privileged, for example, that I have a home that is okay for online classes. But then I think of other students who are just thinking of their survival, who cannot go on with their education because they have to go look for jobs to sustain their lives. So I just want to say that we have to believe in ourselves and to make a difference. So, for example, this discussion is very important, where we can share our advocacies and also to inform others and to encourage others to vote and to register, of course.
Ayan, thank you so much, Michelle, no? Mukhang hindi lang talaga drinks ang bit-bit natin ngayon, pati ang mga advokasya natin ngayong hapon. Sige, Michelle, gusto mo ba tumawa? Sinong gusto mong marinig na susunod ng kanyang mga pangarap?
I think si Joshua po dapat yung
Ayan, si
mauuna.
Joshua. It's your
Opo.
time to shine. Sige, Joshua.
Go, Joshua!
Ayan po. And thank you po. And again, good afternoon, everyone. Now, let me talk about my dreams. So, I am currently studying education. And of course, I've been dreaming to finish, of course, college first. Then after I finish college, I would be taking a master's and later on doctorate because I actually want to make a change in my profession para papataas ako. Pupunta ako sa education department natin if, of course, in the future, given the chance. Malay mo maging supervisor. Just cross finger on that. Tapos, I want to make a change sa education system natin because I've been seeing a lot of mishaps, a lot of struggles in education. Kasi look at the pandemic right now. Para ang dami pa natin kailangan dapat gawin when it comes to bringing a quality education since it's actually a part of the SDG, parang Sustainable Development Goal. Tapos parang we're still left behind when it comes to education. Parang hindi naman siya bragging like the Philippines is parang last to open up classes like on the start of the pandemic, di ba? It's not something bragging. So I want to make my dream parang inanchor ko siya doon, papunta ako doon. Like my dream is somewhat in relation to what I am observing right now. Kasi it's not the fault of our government officials while we are in this pandemic. But of course, they can help us alleviate or get through from this pandemic, di ba? So ayun yung dream ko. I dream for myself and also I dream for my country. So parang tig-relate ko yung dream ko po.
Okay, well, quote you on that, no? Ang pangangarap para sa sarili ay pangangarap para sa bayan. Wow, lalim na.
Hindi lang
Mukhang, yes, Father.
Sobra ko natuwa. Alam nyo ba, parang high na touch ako bigla. Kasi hindi lahat ng tao nangangarap maging guro.
Totoo.
Isa siya sa mga lagi nating we hope na maraming tao gusto talaga magturo ng mabuti. Siyempre, ang pangarap lagi na sa medical field, lagi kung saan-saan. Pero yung magsabi ng maging guro, iba yun. Kasi yung
pagiging guro, sobrang crucial siya sa ating bansa. At totoo yan. Ang daming
Totoo.
kailangan ayusin sa DepEd. I'm sorry I said this here. I'm sorry DepEd, but totoo lang ha. Totoo lang.
Real talk.
At saka, 'di ba? At saka kahit na po sa CHED, ang dami po, ang daming kailangan ayusin. Karamihan sa mga dinadaan ng mga estudyante, lalong-lalo na ang kadami-daming mga subjects ay dahil po sa kanilang gawain. Okay, dapat sana ang senior high school is to, sabi nila, paliitin yung demands para makahinga ang mga estudyante, pero mukhang napapahirapan tayo. May mga bagay na kailangan ayusin. I'm sorry sinabi ko yun, di ba? Pero totoo, di ba? We need really good teachers and really good teachers. So, maraming salamat. So, I just want to say that, Joshua, natouch ko bigla. Siyempre.
Actually,
Di ba?
while we're on the topic of education, Father, kanina meron din tayong isa pang education students naman from Cotabato City. So, let's hear it from Mariel naman this time.
Yay!
Yay! Yay! Ayun po, so good afternoon po ulit. Maayong hapon po ulit. So, I agree po with Kuya Joshua po kasi in-line po siya sa course ko po ngayon, education. So, as a future teacher and as a future educator, gusto ko po talaga na matulungan yung mga kabataan, lalo na yung mga gustong mag-aral pero mas inuna po nila yung paghahanap ng trabaho. So sa community po kasi namin, there are lots of young people who do not go to school, but they are eager to learn. So I wanted to help them because it really inspires me to really give my best as a future teacher. Pohon, I know that there are a lot of teachers already, but I wanted to be one of them. They sacrifice a lot, the time, and the effort. They're giving their best just to provide what their students need or what the children needs. So I wanted to inspire them and give them all my best. Yun po.
Magba-virtual, ano na lang, kapalakpak, ganun. Ganun naman talaga tayo ngayon sa Zoom, di ba?
Virtual clap na lang po muna. Ayan.
Okay, ang ganda itong sinabi ni Maricel Jadi. Hi Maricel, thank you for watching. Sabi niya, guys, good luck. I really support your dreams. Nax, ang ganda na maraming nangangarap kasama ng inyong pangarap. Di ba?
Yes, Father, no. So, maraming salamat, no, Mariel, dun sa iyong sharing on education pa rin, ang pangarap niya. Now, we have Jeric naman. So, what are your hopes and aspirations naman? And do you resonate with our fellow student leaders?
Hello again. Ayun nga, no, tulad nga nung sabi ng mga nauna sa akin, no, our fellow panels. I'm very, very inspired by all of your dreams for the country and for yourself as well. And personally, I also believe na your dreams will really resonate from what you see on your environment right now. Tulad ko rin, yung pangarap ko ngayon is to finish my studies as a communication student or as a graduate. And what I really want to change is to become a person or a someone who writes to influence people, no. Gagamitin ko yung boses ko, yung ability ko to write, to influence people, and ayun, to make a difference in the entire country. And yun nga, what I really hope for the country is for it to have a bright future, not only in terms of its people, but also pati na rin yung system ng sa communication, sa news, ganon, and as well as its culture of filming, ganon, more on technology, since I'm really fond of doing things in line with mass communication. And yun, what I really look forward in the future is for our country to have a better government, of course, para ma-deal lahat ng problems ng bansa natin, while also minding what's going to happen in the media. Kasi as we can see ngayon, no, sobrang laganap yung misinformation, disinformation, and fake news. Excuse me. And I really hope na this in the near future this problem will be solved, no. Kaya I am doing my best as a mass communication student to become a part of that change. That's it.
Thank you so much, Jeric, no? Maraming salamat sa ating lahat, ano? Yes,
Yung
Father.
makaganda, Yana, di ba? Kung
Tutuwa ako,
pakinggan
Father.
mo si
Totoo po.
Jerry. Ay, oo nga. Guys, for those who are listening, if you look at, for example, Jeric's dream, it is true that the way to influence many people now is through social media
Yes,
and
that's
through
true.
communications. And to have different art forms in terms of communicating what is good or communicating the good and what is truthful is very important. We need people who are in media who will hold on to the truth. Kaya to have that kind of dream, imagine kung ang media natin puro katotohanan ang sinasabi, di ba? Siguro malaki ang epekto nito sa ating bansa kung hindi puro disinformation, hindi ba? So, ang ganda may pangarap pala ng mga bata natin na pampunta talaga sa ganung klaseng area na talagang makakatulong para sa ating bansa. Kaya Jerry, sobrang maraming salamat para sa pangarap na ito.
Father, we'd also like to know, baka yung mga viewers natin ngayon may ganito ring pangarap. So, pwede nilang i-comment yan sa ating live stream ngayon para makita rin natin kung pare-pareho din tayo ng tinatanaw na bukas. Sorry, sobrang inspired ako, na-move ako dun sa mga sinabi ng ating mga student leaders ngayong hapong ito. No? So, nakita na natin, Father, ano yung mga pangarap sa nila gustong pumunta. Pero at present ba, Father? I think marami sa atin dito graduating students, right? Looking into the future, no? Do we think it's easier or harder for us to achieve these dreams? No? So, siguro pag-usapan naman natin ngayon where we are. Sabi nga ni Father kanina, no? Kita na natin saan tayo pupunta. Ngayon, nasaan na tayo? Sige, Father, siguro ito na yung time for us to read and to ask our student leaders ano ba yung mga opinion at mga pananaw nila tungkol doon sa mga tanong na binigay sa atin ng mga ating audience at registrants ngayong hapong ito.
Pero maganda, ano natin muna. Oh guys, sa totoo lang, how far or how near are you to achieving those dreams?
Yeah.
I mean, really,
Sige, tingnan
to
muna
ask those questions. And then we will now ask, so mga nanonood, tanongin din natin ating sarili, ano ba ang inyong pangarap? At malayo ba ang iyong pangarap o malapit mo nang ma-achieve ang iyong pangarap? I think these questions are very important for all of us.
Yes.
So, let's ask maybe, alin muna para sa ating mga student leaders, gaano ba kalayo pa ba ang iyong pangarap? O malapit na ba? May mga balakid ba? Are there challenges? Diba? Ano yung mga challenges na yon, kumbaga? Nax. Okay ba? Yung tanong, baka mamaya napaka-irrelevant ko. Ganyan.
Baka Father, baka napaisip sila bigla na may pangarap ako pero hindi ko naisip kung gaano pa ako kalayo. Baka yung mga ating mga nasa final year na ay biglang na-confuse, ano? Nagka-existential crisis bigla. Pero let's see. Tingnan natin. No? So, how far or near are you in achieving your dream? Sige.
Oo, hindi naman kailangan lahat sumagot, di ba? So,
Is it okay po ba if I'll answer?
Ayan, kasi Nia po ang sure na siya, Father. Let's see, sige. Let's hear it from Nia.
Sige po. Since po I have 2 programs, so we will be able to congest it within 5 years. So my 5th year pa ako. And then when Father asked that question, I told myself kasi that when I graduate college, yes, I will proceed to law school because I want to be a lawyer, defend the marginalized people, ganon. And then I thought na, well, because there are things that are beyond your control na may mga balakid talaga. You can never truly say that I am near or I am far because there is no one universal measurement of how far or how near are you to reach your dreams. That's why as for me with this question, I would just like to deviate a bit of it na hindi ako I don't like to look at this lens as na okay, malayo pa ako or I'm near, but rather focus on the present moment of the things that I can do and be
Wow.
able to achieve along with the help of the people and the environment and community around me. So, ayun po sa akin.
Wow, niyan, no? Progress is never linear talaga, Father. Ano? Ganda
Correct.
ng
Kaya,
sagot ni Nia.
ang ganda kasi pang-provoke kasi yung how far or how near.
Mm.
Kasi kung sasabihin ko, are you on the way to achieving those dreams or not? Kasi dapat, di ba, if you have some plans, more or less, if your education, for example, and you're moving towards it, yun ang ibig sabihin ng strand. Alam nyo ba? Oh, ito may kay Sofia
Ayan.
Daniel Cui.
Mm.
I want to be a human rights lawyer po because I see the injustices po happening lalo-lalo na sa marginalized sector. Sofia, napakaganda. Parang
Mm.
antig naman ako sa ganong klaseng
Mm.
pangarap na mga kabataan natin may pangarap ng ganon, di ba?
Totoo, Father. At hindi lang para sa sarili, no? Kadalasan para talaga sa kanilang kapwa. Kaya nakakatuwa talaga siya.
Okay. Simulan natin yung ibang questions natin.
Sige, Father. Mukhang
Okay.
ready na rin
Ito na
naman
yung
ang
mga
ating mga
questions po ninyo,
guests.
no? And napakaganda ng mga tanong na to. Sabi niya, as we enter the elections, what are your thoughts on how our country is doing? What are some key problems and issues that you see are important for us to talk about? Okay. Kahit isa lang, just one from our guests. What do you think should be talked about? There is no ranking, of course, but just mention one because we don't have the whole time. No? But to you, what would be what issue in our country would you peg your life on? Kumbaga.
Hello. I
Ayan.
have an idea
Jerry.
of this kasi lately we've been campaigning for this. Ano ba talaga yung importanteng pag-usapan ngayon, ano? I think yun yung yung pinaka topic natin ngayon, which is voters education din, 'di ba? Yun yung pinaka-importante kasi hindi lahat may alam pagdating sa pagboto at hindi pa lahat, 'di ba, registered voter, 'di ba? So, napaka-importante na ang gawin natin ngayon ay manghikayat ng mga tao na para magparehistro at pag-usapan kung paano ba talaga tayo boboto o paano tayo mamimili kung sino yung iboboto natin. Yun yung isa sa pinaka-importanting parte ng eleksyon ngayon eh. And looking at the situation now, sobrang nakakatuwa. Excuse me. Dahil marami nang nagpapaboto, nagpaparehistro. Sorry. And looking at the news lately na-approve na sa Senate pa lang and still waiting for our president's approval, of course, na ma-move yung registration ng mga voters, which is
Yeah.
that will be a very very good idea and very important part sa paghihikayat ng mas marami pang botante. And yun nga, ang pinaka-importante na pag-usapan natin ngayon kung sino ba talagang iboboto natin at paano tayo mamimili ng iboboto, 'di ba? So, sa pakiramdam ko naman ay mapapag-usapan natin 'to maya-maya, no? So, sa ngayon, 'yun na lang, babanggitin ko na lang muna kung alin yung napaka-importante na 'yun. At tulad nga ng sabi ko, ayun, ang ating mga boto, kung sino yung iboboto natin, kung paano tayo boboto at importante na bumoto tayo. Ayun. Yun po ang nakikita kong importante.
Syempre, hindi ka makakaboto kung hindi ka mag-register, di ba?
Tama yan, Father.
Diba? Sigit natin si Blobe, Blobe Grace Kaputolan. Okay? Hi, bro. Hello. Thank you very much for this comment. Sabi niya, the youth is the hope of our nation. And I do really appreciate the ideas shared to us by the student leaders. Keep it up. Yay! So
Yeah.
she's able to identify. Globe, salamat for commenting. Okay. So yun, so election. How about the others? Baka pwede tayong one or two to answer those questions. Michelle,
Hello po,
nag-on
I'm
ka.
Father. Ako, nag-unmute. Nag-ready na, Father.
Nag-ready na, dapat lang, di ba?
Very quick. Ano po yung nakikita ko na situation na dapat na pag-usapan ay yung pandemic. Kasi ito yung reason bakit nandito tayo online most of the time, kung bakit hindi tayo nagkikita-kita, bakit hindi tayo nakakabalik ng school. Nako, 2 years na yata na hindi nag-open yung schools. Pero I think my limited face-to-face classes naman na-approve. Tapos hindi pa natin alam kung paano yun, if magiging successful ba. So I think the pandemic has affected almost all the aspects of our lives. There's healthcare nakikita po natin yung kakulangan sa healthcare system, sa education system na hindi po pala ready na mag-transition agad-agad sa online.
Yes.
Tapos hindi pa po nasusolusyonan. So marami pong naaapektuhan na aspects ng buhay natin yung pandemic. So paano ba natin makikita yung change na gusto nating makita? Of course, that's through the choosing the right leaders who could give us alternative solutions, who could give us the best possible things po na para masolusyonan na po natin itong pandemic.
And of course, do not forget, the pandemic has
course.
affected our love life, di ba?
Ay, baka
Oh,
sensitive
diba?
topic, Father. Ay,
Totoo
tawag ni
yun, di ba?
Michelle.
Yung mga estudyante ko na merong relationships, hirap na hirap sila kasi hindi sila makalabas ng bahay. Siyempre, ang kanilang way to relate to each other is through, siyempre ganito, online, etc. Pero naintindihan ko yun. Kailangan mo talagang makita physically ang minamahal mo, di ba? And the pandemic has affected even your love life because love life is important. Di ba? Kahit ako pare, sasabihin ko talaga yan. Importante yung relationship. Pag mo sabihin hindi, di ba yan ha?
Father will quote you on that. Importante daw po ang relationship. Pero yun, Father, no, yung nabanggit kanina ni Jeric, no, maiuugnay natin dun sa sinabi ni Michelle. Yung pinaka-importante at pinaka-urgent at this moment is to respond really in the crisis brought about the pandemic. And the most urgent response that we can do is, of course, no, exercise our right to vote. Ayan, ang gaganda ng mga sagot ng student leaders natin.
Even the
Father.
registration has been affected by the pandemic. If it's
Yes,
lockdown,
Father.
you cannot go and register and it's so difficult. So everything is because of the pandemic. So really, I agree with both of them. One more from our sino bang gusto magano dyan?
Yes.
Joshua,
I
ikaw
think
ay
I would like
si
naka-ready ka na.
Joshua.
Nag-ready ka na, nag-ready
Yes.
na.
Yes, ready to. I would just like to make a short echo of the answers or responses or experiences that the two have already shared. So actually, if we're going to talk about the pandemic, of course, there would be some issues of mishandling. Now, if we're going to take a deeper, closer look at the pandemic, it's actually a misdiagnosis. Like we placed policy experts that are not related to addressing the real problem. That's the real problem po talaga. We're not saying that it's not the fault of our government, pero yun nga po, they could have done better. Kasi they are to serve the people po, diba? If they could have selected and put policy experts that are related or that can really diagnose or solve the problem, I think we can have at least, we're in a different situation right now po, diba? Parang yun dun pa lang makikita mo na like if did we really elected the right government officials? Did they really serve the people? Dun tayo mag-focus kasi parang pag nasagot mo yon, well, you have already your candidates for the upcoming election. Just very short.
Wow.
Thank you.
Ganda.
Pero magaling yun, di ba? One of the things that we can do to check is what we call our, it's called an integrity check or an accountability check. That means it's just simple to look at their campaign, when they campaigned, what were their promises and are they doing those promises? Ang tawag dyan integrity. 'Di ba, even in student leadership, even in our lives, integrity and accountability is very important. It simply means that whatever we promise, we do. And that is called commitment. Okay, even in our love lives, meron kong love life Hindi. Even in our relationships, pag sinabing I commit myself to you, ang ibig sabihin nun, I am promising you, I'm making this choice, and therefore I'm going to do it. And so I think no, integrity and accountability is a very good check for all of us to do, so that we will be able to decide what kind of leaders are we going to elect. Okay, do they keep their promise, 'di ba? Wala naman siguro gusto natin makipag-relationship sa isang tao na nangako pero mang-iiwan. Ang tawag diyan ay ghosting, 'di ba? Ghosting.
Ayan, mukhang sensitive topic
Okay.
na naman po, Father.
Next,
Hindi, joke lang po.
napasok ang love life sa kwentuhang eleksyon.
Talaga naman,
Eto,
hindi
meron-
mawawala talaga.
May magandang tanong. Sabi niya, some people think that politics has become very toxic these past years. Do you think that politics is dividing us more than uniting us?
Wow, juicy. Very challenging yung
Juicy.
tanong.
Parang nakaka-nervous sagutin to. But
Opo,
guys,
pero tingnan natin.
tingnan natin. What do you think, guys?
Hello, Father.
Ayan, si
Oh,
Carlo.
Carlo.
I think it's a very fair observation naman na people would think na it's becoming very divisive politics, since we have our public servants who are some public servants are more focusing on the politicking instead of addressing the issues at hand. Let's give that to them. But I think this divisiveness shouldn't be seen merely as divisiveness, but rather somewhat the beauty of our developing democracy. Na dami masyadong views, dami masyadong alternatives karon sa demokrasya na to. Pero what we really need to see is how can we be able to discuss it respectfully sa atong mga Filipinos, sa atong mga co-students, in a way na maski lahi pa man tag mag-opinion, lahi pa tag mga candidates, we support different candidates, it's okay. As long as we respect
Carlo!
one another. Ano po?
Kailangan mo yata i-English at Tagalog kasi meron tayong mga
Ayaw.
taga-Batanes. O meron tayong from Batanes to Holo, if you speak in Visayan, kailangan ko mag-translate, anak.
Okay lang. Pero basically, Father, even though we may have different candidates, different points of view, we respect one another, and while also taking note that we have non-negotiables, which are our human rights, which are other things that are very important to us. So instead of being divisive, let's just focus on how can we be able to see compromise. Yun lang po. Sorry for the
Carlo,
Bisaya.
kailangan ko-
Thank you, Carlo.
Carlo,
Sorry po
kailangan ko
ha,
basahin.
na-distract ko.
Na-distract din ako eh. Carlo, kailangan ko basahin to. Naintindihan namin yung mas maganda na we discuss things, respectfully, because that's
Yeah.
the democracy. That's why it is a democracy. We are able to express our ideas freely. Okay, walang papatay sa atin kung magdi-disagree tayo, 'di ba? But it's free. But I think maganda itong comment. Sabi daw, marami daw na nagko-comment na kung ipapalarin daw sa pangarap, si Carlo na lang daw ang papangarapin nila. Nax, Carlo!
So,
Okay,
gaano
vote
po
for
kayo, how far are you from,
Hindi po ako ang tatakbo sa halalan.
matagal pa.
Hindi. Maganda tong tanongin since mga bata to lahat. Guys, pag merong nag-appreciate sa inyo, ang sagot dyan lagi ay thank you. Okay? That means they are able to recognize the gift that God has given you. So if they say, ang galing ng talent mo, ang sagot dyan ay thank you.
Yes.
Next! O, di ba? Peace, guys. Peace. And Korean love. Korean love. What do you think? How about the others? Do you have any comment about the question?
Balikan lang natin, Father, no?
Nia, si Nia is ano?
Yes po, hello.
Paul side
Actually,
din, of course.
Going back din sa statement ni Carlo, he mentioned compromise. And in a democratic institution, I believe that na dito sa mga political science student dito na we value consensus and compromise, di ba? Di ika nga ni John Locke, every man has a property in his own person. This nobody has a right to but himself. That goes to say that we're only trying to protect our personal benefits or what things that could best benefit us. Kaya going back to this question din naman, the way I see it is I would like also to look or take this question into two lenses. That it can either be divisive or it can create unity. Because what actually divides us with what divides politics among people, particularly fellow Filipinos, is that there is an internal divide due to our different beliefs. We have, of course, merong mga idealistic persons, merong mga they like realism, meron din naman, actually, kung dito net sa Philippine context, actually, is if you're anti, let's say, you're anti ka sa isang family, and then you're considered na, okay, so yung color mo, ganito ka na. But it's actually not din naman. Kaya you need also to get this sense of consensus and compromise. And that is where the second lens, where unity through politics is actually convenient and beneficial. Because unity comes into collective action, and that collective action spurs in times of crisis. Gaya nitong pandemic, of course, there were still political differences, but what unites us is that we help each other through helping each other's situation even in the most basic situations lang ng mga ayuda, helping people kasi kulang na lang yung mga food nila. So, ayun dun. Politics can either be divisive or unity, and it depends upon the person.
Yes.
And I think it is important, sabi nga ni Nia na, I think it's the appropriateness of the situation. In a pandemic, kailangan natin magkaisa. Hindi na ito whether dilawan ka o ano ka, whatever, di ba? May mga oras na we have to be together. Or else, di ba, nothing will happen. I think parang ganun din sinasabi na that would lead to unity. Hindi na ibig sabihin na pag nagkaisa tayo, kailangan walang differences. Hindi in fact, our relationship with each other, we are united because we do have differences. Di ba?
Father, ang ganda rin nung sinabi
meron tayo. Basahin mo.
Ay, sorry, Father. Pero I just
Sige,
want to
go.
emphasize din po. Yung sinabi kasi ni Carlo at ni Nia po kanina, no, it just tells us that clean politics is actually possible and it's real. Posible siyang mangyari. Kasi when we talk about politics, iba lagi siyang dirty, laging toxic. Ayaw natin pag-usapan yung politika kasi magkakaiba tayo dyan eh. So, ang ganda din nung sinabi niyo, Father, na it's possible through consensus. No? Na talaga mapag-uusapan natin siya. So, ayan, Father, meron tayong comment from Michael Papaya. Okay?
Yes,
Sabi niya, your
Michael.
vote defines the nation you want to live by Reynard.
Wow.
At alam, may citations pa, Father. No? Thank you very much, Michael, for your comment. Ayan, sige, Father. No? So, siguro, maganda na rin na pag-usapan po natin. Kanina, may divide, na parang ang hirap ng i-bridge ng divide na yun. Siguro, maganda rin po itong itanong, no? More voters are feeling disempowered at the moment. Kasi parang feeling na wala naman mapupuntahan eh. Lagi naman tayong ate. Para saan pa yung pagboto natin? And they think that their vote will not have an impact. Some people feel that nothing will change even if they engage in politics. What are your thoughts on this, and what do you think can be done to address this problem? Ganda nung tanong, Father, no? Pang Miss Universe. Sige, tingnan po natin kung ano ang magsasabi dyan ng ating mga student leaders.
Natawa naman ako ng pang Miss Universe. Actually, baka hindi ito masagot ng Miss Universe.
Mahirap pa. Sobrang
Mahirap.
challenging niya kahit si Miss Universe
Siguro pang
hindi kayang
pang
abutin.
pang United Nations kung saan nandun yung BTS.
Ay, talaga naman, Army pala si
Sige.
Father.
Di ba? Permission to Dance. I love that song.
Yes.
Sige, natawa. Sino ba? Who among you would like to answer that questions from our viewers? Jeric.
Nalaglag
si
si
Jerry.
Jerry.
I think I'll go. Yes.
Okay.
I think I'll
Sige
go
lang.
first.
Alright, Joshua.
Josh.
Yes po. I think to answer that question po, let's take a look at the structure of power of the Republic of the Philippines. So if we're going to take a look at that, the power actually lies in the sovereign people, to the sovereign Filipino people. So if you're going to have a mindset that your vote is not powerful or does not make an effect or anything at all in the election, and you tell your friends, and your friends decided to do so, and your friends told their friends to do so as well. So there would be a ripple effect that, of course, let's not all vote together, di ba? Parang you have that mindset already. Pero you should change that mindset that the power really lies in the people when it comes to a democratic country. So the Philippines, of course, is a democratic country. And as we all know, the power really lies in the people. So we are just appointing or electing applicants. Those are the government officials, those are the government lineup that are applying to become like the president, vice president, etc. So they would only be having the temporary power, but the power, the always there power is on the people. So just have a mindset that you are very powerful. That one vote, sabi nga nila, can make actually can break a tie, di ba? So parang just have those mindset.
Wow, ang ganda ng
Wow.
sinabi ni Joshua, Father. Malay mo, ikaw nga naman ang tiebreaker, ano, tas hindi ka bumoto. Di ba?
Di ba,
Hindi,
totoo lang.
opo. I'm no mathematics
And
major, pero yung probability niya, kahit maliit, no, posible pa rin siyang mangyari.
totoo yan, no? Even in psychology, di ba? I think one of the things that destroys the country is when the citizens think that they are powerless.
Yes.
May tinatawag tayong cultural low self-esteem. Di ba? Maybe because it's historical, maybe because we hear it a lot of times even in our families that we're no better, that someone is far better than us. Di ba? Guys, no, generation Z or even Y, we don't want to be compared to another person. Maybe it creates something like it becomes a culture that means we don't believe that we can do something, we can do some changes in our lives, no? Ang ganda ng pagkasabi ni Joshua noon. Other people who would like to answer that question.
Ayan, si Mariel, Father, ready na rin siya.
Nas,
ahead,
Mariel.
Mariel.
Go anak, go.
This is just my opinion lang po.
Your opinion matters, sabi nga ni Joshua.
Yes.
So, in my own thought po, these people have been failed by many politicians who make empty promises. So maybe throughout the years, they believe that their votes can make the change they wanted to have, but still things never change. The poverty, which is the most common issue in the country, is still prowling around. And maybe it's time that politicians take accountability of the promises they make po. It's what like you have said kanina, Father, the accountability. It's very important. Thank you.
Yeah. There are many things that we can do, you know. We can, for example, you can volunteer to be non-partisan. Yung mga PPCRV, tulong ka sa simbahan, no? Or actually, alam nyo ba na if you're a lay person, your obligation is really to engage in partisan politics. Okay, di ba? Pope Francis said that in Fratelli Tutti that engaging in politics is a necessary responsibility for all of us, because at the end of the day, if you look at what politics is all about, it is the highest form of charity, he said. It is the highest form of love. Bakit? Because politics should seek the good of everybody, the good which we call the common good. And therefore, maybe the invitation for all of us to, as many of you said, is to do better politics, diba? And to really know that you can do something kahit paunti-unti. In fact,
Yes.
baka pwede na tayong gumawa ng mga bagay kahit pagkatapos ng election, we continue with our political formation, di ba? We continue to be
Yes.
engaged as citizens even after the elections, di ba?
Yes. Hindi talaga siya natatapos lang, Father, no, sa pagboto. Anong gagawin natin pagkatapos nating bumoto at may maihalal? Tingin ko yun yung mas mahalaga nating alamin sa sarili natin. No,
Yun na
Father?
nga. So pwede na natin tanungin ngayon, ano ba yung impact ng bata? Okay. What is your impact? you as a young person participating in the elections, what would be your impact? And one of the questions here is this: why is it important for us to participate and be active in the upcoming elections, especially in going out to vote? Is it true that young people, youth active participation can bring democracy to life or democracy to flourish? What do you think, guys?
Hello po,
Wow.
Father.
All right,
Yeah,
Michelle.
go.
So to answer your question, I think it is very important for the youth to be engaged and to vote. So for our system to be truly representative, all sectors of society must be represented, and that includes our youth. So imagine, no, you're a young person. You'll be thinking na for the next 3 years, for the next 6 years, these are the leaders who will be making the policies that would affect all the aspects of my life. So basically, our future is on the line here. In fact, we need to let them hear our voice. No, recently, Father, my report po na yung young Filipinos daw comprise 52% of total registered voters as of September. So imagine how much difference we can make. Basically, if you think about it, we can turn the tables around. So I'm not sure if by youth vote ba, pero just imagine how much yung 52% can make a difference. So this is why in this discussion, we have emphasized the importance of voting. So, I agree with you, Father, with you, Miss Ariana, that voting is not just an on-the-day thing. It's a before, a during, and an after. Why before? Because, before voting, you research, titingnan mo yung track record ng mga
Yes.
candidates kung ano ba yung achievements nila, yung education, yung experience. Tapos on the day of voting, you go to the precinct, you wait in your line patiently kahit umaabot ng 2 hours, 3 hours, tapos napakainit pa. After voting naman, imo-monitor mo kung nagagawa ba nung tama yung elected leaders. You would ask for transparency, for accountability. You would check on them. At if meron mang mga questionable na nagagawa, you also put out your voice out there nga hindi na ito tama, ganun. So it does not end lang on voting day. It's before, during, and after.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
Di sabi nila
Father-
na a big chunk of our voting population, more than 40%, will really
Yes.
come from the young. Imagine more than 40% will be coming from the young. So ilan ba ang percentage ng mga bata ang nakapag-register na, di ba? You really matter, guys, di ba? Ito, may tanong dito. What are your thoughts in being partisan these coming elections and to campaign for specific candidates? Okay lang ba maging partisan?
I think I can also give my perspective. That's okay.
Yeah.
all right. Sige.
Okay. First and foremost, I think it's okay to be partisan. It's a personal choice. It's actually given within our constitution that we can choose to be partisan since we have freedom of choice. But I think what I want to emphasize here is that more than being partisan, more than campaigning on a personality, you should campaign on an agenda. What's most important for you? For me, personally, I come from Mindanao. So what's most important for me? That my region is well represented within the government. Other than that, I know a lot of health workers. So I want to make sure that that my next government official, the next government, will have a pandemic exit plan. And most of all, I'm a student government president. What I want is a candidate that has an agenda as to how we can go back to school. Ligtas na balik eskwela. So I think more than partisan politics, it's about agenda-based politics. Ano bang importante sa'yo? Hindi
Yes.
sino ang importante para sa'yo. So yun lang po.
Ang ganda ng sinabi ni Carlo na hindi dapat siya personality-based talaga yung ating elections. Dapat agenda-based. Siguro, Father, basahin din natin yung comments dito from our Facebook live stream. No? Sabi ni Jelord Oloraza, I can resonate with the idea of wag na akong magparehistro kasi wala namang magandang nangyayari sa bansa kahit boboto ako. Since I was 18, hindi na ako nagpa-register. But now that I am 27, I realize how important that one vote is. How it can change the future future of our broken and wounded country? Isa lang, pero sabi nga, malay mo yun na yung sagot. Yung tiebreaker para maluklok ang pinaka-deserving na candidate. Wow! Ang
O,
ganda
gawin
ng
natin guys.
sinabi ni
Cheers
Jel.
para kay
Cheers
Jelord.
tayo para kay
Cheers tayo. Cheers
Jelord.
tayo.
Yeah.
Tama, mag-register talaga tayong lahat. Hindi ba?
Sana po isaisip din natin
I
yung
guess,
mga binanggit ni Carlo kanina, Father, no? Ang ganda ng mga sinabi.
Sige, game.
Mm-mm. Sige po. Father, may comment din pala
Ay,
dito
yeah.
from Father William Garcia of the Diocese of Cubao. Hello po, Father William. Sabi niya, maybe
Hi,
law of
Choy.
attraction can help. My vote counts.
Sobrang kaibigan ko yan.
Opo. Ang ganda po na sinabi ni Father. Sabi niya, my vote counts. This candidate will for the common good. So, law of attraction lang daw talaga ang makakatulong malamang sa atin. Ano? Ang ating attract ay
Yes.
good candidates
Ito.
para sila ang manalo. Yes, Father.
Yes. Ito, pwede na natin tanungin itong isang chunk ng questions galing sa ating mga audience sa registration. This
Sige
is
po.
about choosing candidates. Sabi nila, what standards or leadership traits should we look for in candidates for the coming elections, especially in the context of what's happening to our country and for our generation? How do we go beyond a person's fame or personality? And what are your tips on how to vote wisely, especially for new voters? Okay. So, sige nga, anyone can answer that question.
I think I'll go first na lang po.
Alright,
Nia,
Nia.
go Nia.
So, ayun, I'm assuming na youth na rin yung nag-raise ng question.
Mm.
Kaya as youth,
Okay, dad mo, in other words.
yes, kasi po as youth din kasi we carry the responsibility to, when it comes to elections and participating, in nation building. It is also our responsibility to gather people, foster collective actions, and campaign for voters' education, and to encourage more people to register and, of course, to vote. And to go back to elections, empowerment through education is necessary, so there may be critical spaces where people would not easily be swayed with advertisements, candidates singing or dancing, but instead, weigh their work and align them with their greater benefit. Kagaya nga nung statement kanina ni Carlo that he has this standard that he needs to align because what
Yes.
do I want that is aligned to what I want the Philippines to be. And if they are elected, these candidates, let us make them liable for their actions and their plans for us and for our country. This is actually what I appreciate in a democratic country because according to Ian Bremmer in his book, The End of the Free Market, at the rise of globalization right now, too many countries are focusing on fostering international relations. And that is actually critical because they became too dependent when it comes to decision making of these international organizations that are not directly liable to their countries. Whereas in democratic countries, these administrations from democratic institutions are liable to their voters, to their citizens. That's why let's make them accountable and weigh what they can do for us that would greatly benefit us. Yun po sa akin.
Ganda ng sinabi ni Nia, Father, no? Nabanggit niya yung dalawa sa 7 pillars of democracy, transparency,
7
accountability.
pillars ba yun?
Opo, 7 pillars of
Sige nga.
democracy yan, Father.
Sige,
Huwag niyo
sabihin
na po
mo nga
tanungin
yan.
kung
Ano yung
ilan
7
sila
pillars
lahat.
na yun?
Hindi ko po memorize, pero andun yung rule of law, andun yung ating freedom of speech and expression. Andyan po yung sinabi ni Nia kanina na right to exercise yung suffrage natin, yung kakayahan nating bumoto. And yung transparency and accountability. I just forgot the remaining 3. Balikan ko kayo mamaya, Father, on that. No, so, ang ganda. Ang ganda na sinabi ni Nia, Father. Perhaps others can still answer, no? Kung ano po yung palagay nila dun sa question natin kanina.
And bago nyan, guys, those who are watching us, please write your comments and your questions because in just a few minutes, we will go to live questions. Your
Yes.
questions, our answers. Next, exciting, hindi ba? Because
Eto na
your
yung
opinion really matters to us. Okay? Meron tanong dito, no? Considering that not everyone is clean when it comes to politics, what advice would you give to voters who aren't knowledgeable on the background and history of candidates?
Wow.
Di ba? Paano mo malalaman? Ako, ang sagot ko dyan, simple lang. I-Google mo.
And
Di ba,
verify, Father, no? Fact check dapat din pag ginugol
fact check
natin.
dapat. I-Google mo, yun. You can do research. Kasi guys, no, hindi na lahat ng bagay, makikita mo lang talaga sa inyong cellphone.
Mm.
'Di ba? Sometimes you don't know what's there. But maybe in another show we can talk about how to do fact checking. But that's a very good question. But again, you can always do research. Oh, punta na tayo sa how to vote properly. There is what we call, ang tanong do you think there is an educated vote against
Ayan.
what we normally hear as bobotante? Do you think
Mm.
this is a correct way to talk
Interesting.
about politics and the elections? What do you think? Or maybe we can ask the other question. Sabi niya, how do we encourage more fellow voters to make sure that they are well informed before picking the candidates that they will vote for? How do we encourage close-minded people to do more research? How do we do that?
Parang may
Parang
aversion kasi sa research, no? May research na kami sa school, pag-researchin mo pa kami sa mga personalities, no? Pero dapat, no? Sige,
yeah.
tingnan po natin anong insights na makuha natin from our student leaders.
Right. Ayun nga,
Alright, si
no,
Carl.
tulad nasabi kanina na
Mm.
yung mga boto po na ganun, yung sinabi na bobotante, yung sinabi kanina ni Father, no. I do believe na walang ganun na, kasi sometimes people are swayed away by many reasons. For example, kasi the politics or politicians, ang tinatarget nila lagi is the weakness of the people. And so, if these people na nahihirapan ay bibigyan ng politicians ng sagot dun sa kahirapan nila, siyempre, iboboto nila yon, di ba? Pero I do believe naman na na walang walang uneducated na boto, kasi lahat yon may dahilan. And for some reasons, in the context of our country, ang rason kung bakit yung mga tao ay bumoboto ng ganito ay dahil napapagdiskitahan lamang sila. Biktima lang din sila ng pag-target dun sa weakness nila, di ba? And that's the very problem ng sa politics natin ngayon, kasi politicians are really exploiting the weakness of the people. And so I would not say that there is uneducated vote. The problem is that these people are just victims of these politicians, or
Alright.
Yeah.
some politicians, let's say.
Parang
Sige,
pwede
ito,
rin
ito.
natin siyang... Yeah, sige, Father. Go ahead po.
Yeah, that's right, no? Siguro itong question na to napaka-importante din sa mga nagtatanong talaga. Kasi ang dami nagtanong nito. Sabi niya, are you in favor of setting a college degree qualification for every candidate who will run for any position in government? Siyempre kasama dito, kasama ba yan sa ating qualifications? O yun ang standard ba natin? Or pwede rin kasi hindi lang college degree qualification. What are your opinions on current political leaders who don't know how and when to separate politics also from the religious beliefs? So yung mga ganun type, what do you think?
Hi. Hello.
I think I
Sige. We'll go with Joshua first.
Sige, Joshua.
sige po. Right later, I'll just give you the mic po. Pero anyway, about that question po, actually, if you're really going to base your debate or your reasoning when it comes to government through the Bible, of course, we have this sense of thinking po kasi that the Republic of the Philippines is a democratic country rule under the law. So yun yung pagkakaintindi at dapat na sa isip ng lahat ng ating candidates or ng mga nasa government officials or may mga positions right now that we are actually ruled by law and not by the Bible. You're not saying that we don't need to look to the Bible, but of course, we should follow the rule of the law because that's what our Constitution is stating. So if you're going to take a look again at the preamble, you can find there, etc., and that we are looking for justice, etc., and for a humane society. But of course, it's again rule of the law. Yun lang po. not the Bible.
Okay. How about Jeric, you want to say something from
Yes,
Joshua?
yes, yes, yes. I do agree with Joshua, no, na uh, our government should really be based on the law, and I also think na it's really time to change the constitution of our country, no. Napalitan na yung mga lumang patakaran kasi there are things that are irrelevant na, no, when it comes to the new era. And uh, going back to the question, is it good to apply the or make the college degree as a requirement sa pagtakbo? I think not necessarily a college degree, but I think a proper education, maybe secondary or so. Kasi I do believe na if the people who are leading are educated not only with experience but also in theory, they can make a better difference, 'di ba? And if so, na makapag-make sila ng better difference, then everyone can have an access to quality education. Oh, it's just a domino effect na if if they create good law or good outcomes for the country, then they can create educated people who can lead the country to a bright future, and who can shape people na magli-lead para sa bansa natin. And so I do believe na um, not necessarily a college degree, but uh, I think an educational attainment of some point. As of now, I don't have a clear idea of what it should be, but um, it's just an idea na they should really be based not only with experience but also in theory as well. Because it really hits different if a politician is educated in experience as well as in theory by the book. So I think
Yeah.
we can make that happen, and I do believe na changing that will really create a difference and for us to have a better future. That's it.
Yeah,
Thank
it
you.
is. Yeah, it is true for what Jeric has said about maybe we can check on our laws and check our context. Because do our laws do change, because nagbabago talaga ang panahon. And what will be those changes? That's exactly what we're going to do when you elect your officers. Are the candidates that you're going to choose will bring about that change, di ba? Carlo, you wanna say something about that?
I think I really resonate with Jeric, but I'm going to uh, have a different perspective. Hindi naman different, but somewhat relation. I think I agree with him because the Constitution in the first place, nakalagay po na the candidate or the person must only be able to read and write. Why is that? Because we do not want to consolidate power or the services that government can offer among the elite, ang mga people na educated with all these attainments, because we have to recognize that the population or the citizenry does not only comprise of the so-called educated. Marami po tayong mga tao dito sa Pilipinas. Dapat we should give everyone the equal opportunity to serve kahit nakapag-aral ka pa man sa kolehiyo o hindi. Because that's the beauty of democracy. And I think I definitely agree with Jeric, and I hope once we go to the election, we see it in that view. Now we give everyone an equal opportunity to run. Yun na po.
Yeah.
All right.
Would you agree
got
na
it.
sana what we can check is actually their track record, 'di ba?
Yeah, I
Than
think
educational background.
the track record is very, of course, important. And other than the track record, I think it's the rationale why a candidate is running. Ano bang hugot niya? Ano bang agenda niya? And I think what
Yeah.
once the voter gets the agenda, para makikita niya rin sarili niya sa kung ano ang Pilipinas na gina-envision sa ating future leaders. Yun
Yeah.
na po, Father.
Okay, thank you very much. We will proceed right away to a very good question, which is I think is very relevant, Yana, di ba? The
Yes,
issues
Father.
of course, media, misinformation,
Yes.
and disinformation. What's the difference between those words, misinformation and disinformation? Pag sinabi pong misinformation, walang malis pag nagkamali sa paglagay ng news, for example. Pero ang disinformation, may malis. Ibig sabihin, they really want you to believe in the lies or the deception that they want you to believe in. Yun ang difference. Kaya if we call fake news, for example, fake news is a broad term. In fact, tinatawag yan na fake news that we refer to is actually disinformation. Yung information na meron talaga siyang malis na magbibigay sa'yo, magsasabi siya sa'yo ng hindi totoo. Ibig sabihin, nagsisinungaling siya dyan. So, yun yung ibig sabihin ng disinformation. So, from there, maybe we can ask this question. How do we address the issues of trolls and fake news during this election season, knowing that this can influence voting behavior and impact the election significantly? And of course, because many of us are young, we are very much influenced by what we see on social media. So maybe some of you can answer that question.
Um, Hello po.
Michelle.
The internet po is vast kasi we have this technology in front of us. It's up to us how we're going to use it for good ba or for bad. So I think that we have to be very vigilant. We have to be very cautious when we are facing information. When we read information online, we have to know how to fact check and to get our facts and information only from credible sources. And I think we've seen a lot of trolls na mga comments sa Facebook. Minsan nakakaano na, nakakabahala, ba't ang daming fake news? So, ang bala lang po talaga natin, our weapon against fake news is the credible sources that we have, you know, our knowledge on how to discern which one is the truth, which one is false. So we have to be very careful and also have to inform and educate others.
Yes.
Alright.
Maganda yung fact-checking, di ba, Yana, no?
Yes po, Father. And I think may mga ano na rin, mechanisms na rin sa mga social media sites natin na may in place na talaga, no, na nagfa-fact check na po. Like for example, when you share news about COVID, about a particular personality, tinignan muna nila. Halimbawa sa Twitter, Father, may lalabas. Have you read the entire article before retweeting or resharing it? So, yun yung ginagawa ng mga companies o ng mga social media outlets. But for us, sabi nga po ni Michelle, kailangan pa rin, we have to do our part. No? We fact check, no, para malabanan talaga natin itong yung misinformation o yung mga propaganda minsan, no, na lumalaganap sa internet natin. Ang ganda ng sagot
That's
ninyo
right.
yan, no?
Proceed tayo na. Ito na yung pinaka-last question natin from all our registered voters.
Sana, Father, no, lahat sila ay registered.
Sana galing sa registration form. Kasi to me, this is very important. Ang tanong ay, how do I talk to my parents about
Right.
politics, especially when my opinions and views are not taken seriously? And how can we engage them in discussion about politics, especially when they are close in their opinion? How do you do that, guys? How do you talk to your parents?
Another juicy question. I think related po yan sa pinag-usapan natin kanina, misinformation and disinformation na binabanggit ninyo, no? Sige, let's hear it po from our student leaders. I think Joshua would like to say something.
Yes po. Hi again, everyone. I think minsan kasi I approach my parents like to talk about, we are kasi very open to this kind of discussion. So we talk about yung mga politicians, like who are the running. Actually, we saw one post already of the list of candidates for president and the vice president, the alliance, something like that. But anyways, I always tell my parents that if you're going to go to social media and to refer your candidates in the social media, just make sure that you are reading a factual information. Tapos there's this tip kasi, like if you can tell if that is really a factual information that you are reading. Like you can actually look at the citation if it can be cited, like who can be made accountable for that information because it's already posted in social media. Who can be made accountable? If that person is right there, then that means there's something that legal basis, like we can go back to this person if this is um a false information. So that's one tip that I always tell my parents, to check um their information, even the articles they read. Actually, sinasabihan ko lang sila to read at sites or at pages or a huge following that are actually factual. And also, this is what the one that I really just learned recently from our previous webinar. There's actually an algorithm pala when it comes to social media, on what you are seeing and what pops out on your social media is following a certain algorithm. So if you can actually tamper that algorithm, you can see, for instance, your algorithm is seeing fake news. So of course, the pop outs and your feeds would be flooded with fake news. But if you change your algorithm to following factual sites and follower pages, your algorithm would be changed to having those information that are really credible and factual. So that's one thing that I always tell parents. And of course, the discussion naman, like who to vote and why not to vote, we always check, like magiging dapat daw we should be mabusisi when it comes to checking the candidate. Kasi they are applicants daw eh. Sabi pa nila, like the application with the presidents, etc., the lineup, they're actually the applicant and we are the boss. Parang tayo ang mag-hire sa kanila and we have the power to elect kung sino sa mga applicants na yan ang ipi-place natin sa position. So just make sure that to have a background check, factual background check with those candidates. Parang haba na. So that will be all. Thank you po.
Ganda ng
Okay lang
sinabi
yung
ni
mahaba, Josh.
Joshua.
Ganyan. Pero yung question dito din, I think let's point it out. I think the question is coming from, what if your parents are closed? Okay naman yung open-minded yung parent, di ba? Pero paano kung close? O paano loyal na loyal sila sa isang kandidato, hindi lang kandidato, kundi sa mga nakaluklok, for example. Anong pwede mong gawin? How do you talk to them? You know, what do you think?
I think I would just give them the facts and the evidences. Like if you still want to believe after all these evidences and facts that I am giving you, it's up to you po. But of course, I will not be influenced by my parents in making decisions on who to vote. Basta I have my decision po. But if they're very close talaga po, here are the graft cases, kung may mga graft cases, corruption cases, or even family backgrounds that can support if they're in a trouble. So here are the evidences. I'll be reading it to you. If you don't want a very long narration, I'll just make a summary of it. That ganun lang po.
Yeah. That's good, no? But the how, anong gagawin mo? Hysterical? Gagawin mo subliminal?
Awayin.
Okay, aawayin mo? Ano
Opo.
talaga? I think the question is about that. No? Tipong, paano mo i-approach yung parents mo? Tipong na, Mami, can I talk to you? Ganyan. Is it okay? Ganyan. So, anong gagawin mo sa tingin mo? Maybe the others. Carlo, ikaw, paano mo sasabihin?
I think this comes from experience.
Daddy? Yes, Daddy.
This is based
From
on experience.
daw po.
I think I definitely agree na you present the facts, etc. I think that's important. But I think more than presenting the facts, I think it's more of a discerned conversation. Bakit mo binoboto siya? Okay. Alam ko anong rason mo. Okay. Ito ang kandidato ko. Ito ang rason ko bakit binoboto ko siya. I think more than the facts, it's also about how do you convince your parents without even convincing them in the first place. Your narrative why you're voting for this certain candidate. And eventually, na if hindi pa enough ang facts, hindi pa enough ang naratibo mo, edi, agree to disagree. That's the beauty of democracy. Wala tayong magagawa. Siyempre, Bisaya ang tako, pero Tagalog na lang. Pero yun lang po. Agree to disagree.
Ipag-pray mo na lang, kumbaga.
Pagpasa Diyos
Pag-pray
na
mo
lang.
na lang, pray na lang tayo. Guys, before we go to the live questions, okay, para malinis muna ang tenga natin, here's our opening billboard once again to remind you of what we're talking about now. Okay, o di ba? Lininis muna natin ang ating tenga. We're now going into the live questions. And so we will be flashing whatever questions you have. Ito na. Kay Alison Mendiola. Sabi niya, what are your thoughts when people say, di na ako boboto. Wala naman akong gustong kandidato eh.
Ay, ganda ng tanong.
Nasabi ko ba with emotions? Ganyan ba?
Yes,
O, yun
Father.
ka-
I
Di
can
na ako
hear
boboto.
the conviction.
Wala naman akong gustong kandidato eh.
I can hear the conviction. Hanggang dito, Father, umaabot. Sige po. Anyone, sige, anong masasabi natin dito? Parang ito yung paulit-ulit na naririnig natin eh. Yes, sino? Sorry, hindi ko makita
Nia
kung
po,
sino.
actually.
Nia, alright nga.
Yes, but actually this question is very critical kasi merong mga tao na alam nila, but alam nila kung sino yung sana gusto nilang bubutogin. And they will be, kind of apathetic by choice. And that is actually crucial sa ating lipunan. That's why in terms of, what you can do to people like this, to gather more collective action and encourage more of these people and actually take up spaces through conversation, conversing with them that, napakasayang ng isang boto mo if hindi ka magboboto sa eleksyon na to. Because at the end of the day, kahit hindi mo pa bobotohin, that certain candidate, well, siya yung mananalo. And then, what can you do? You don't have that necessary na parang, okay, I'll make him accountable kasi I vote for him. No, parang hindi ganun. Kasi mas mabuti if I voted for you, so I'll make you accountable and liable for whatever you will do for our country and for me. So ayun, mas maganda if you talk to them on a personal level and just converse with them and make them realize and understand of how crucially important one vote is.
All right, no? So I think they've emphasized enough, Father, no, the beauty of dialogue. Yung sabi nga ni Carlo kanina, yung discerned conversation, ano, napakahalaga niyan, no? Kasi sometimes kapag hostile yung approach mo sa tao, mas titiklop siya, mas magmamatigas siya, no? So ang
Yeah.
ganda nung binanggit ni Nia kanina lang, Father. No? Sige, how
Saka
about the other?
ang
Yes, sige
ganda
po, Father.
ng sabi na discerned dialogue. Alam mo yun?
Yes, opo.
Kapag sinabi nating discernment kasi, guys, no, hindi lang to parang decision making. Ang discernment, pinapakiramdaman mo kung nasaan yung sitwasyon para alam mo din kung paano mo siya i-approach. 'Di ba? So, meron rin ganun. Kung sa prayer, pinapakaramdaman mo kung saan ka dinadala ng Diyos. Yun ang ibig sabihin ng discernment. Nax, okay. Meron bang ibang gusto
Kombinasyon siya, Father,
sumagot
no?
doon? Katanungan ni Allison. Okay, go.
Gusto ko lang, sir, sabihin, Father, no, na yung discernment nga ay kombinasyon siya ng isip at ng loob. Kumbaga, no, hindi lang talaga siya imposing ng data, no, kailangan mo ring pakiramdaman, sabi niyo nga, Father, kanina. Sige, puntahan po natin yung iba pa, baka may iba pang insight tayo sa tanong ni Allison. Di na ako boboto, wala naman akong gustong kandidato eh. Anong tingin natin doon?
Ayan, hello. Ayan.
Hi.
Looking at this po, no, ito yung isa na rin sa pinakamalaking problema na kinaharap natin. Na ito yung mindset ng tao. Pero ang tingin ko na kailangan gawin sa mga ganito is if you are one of these people na nag-iisip na di na ako boboto kasi wala naman akong gustong kandidato or wala naman magandang kandidato na piliin. I think yung magandang gawin is to further your research and tingnan mo mabuti kung sino ba yung mayroong potential. And of course, you should also ask other people of what do they think, and you can also compare your thoughts to them with their thoughts pala. Kasi yung boto na yun, sayang yun. Kahit sabihin natin isa lang, sayang na sayang talaga. kung hindi ka boboto, sobrang mas lalong magkakaproblema kung wala ka man gusto na kasi iniisip mo na kapag binoto ko yan, baka hindi naman matupad yung gusto ko for this country or yung platform niya. And isipin mo rin na kung hindi ka boboto, as in literal na walang mangyayari. Walang kahit anong promises na nandyan na nakalapag. So, meaning it's better to have something that has potential rather than having nothing at all. 'Di ba? Kasi there is always a choice. Although the choice is a little bit on the down low or on the downside, there is always a potential for change. It's something that is proven because change is always inevitable. And that's what I think to further your study, pag-isipan mo pang mabuti. Kung wala talaga, try to take a new perspective. And there you will see na there is something, there is always a choice. And it will be hard, but it's always like that. It will always be hard in making a choice. So just further your research and ask yourself a lot of questions and reflect. That's what I think.
Yes.
Tama
Thank
yan, no?
Yes, thank you to both of you. Ito meron tayong kay Resha Gwyneth Masigon. Sabi niya, election is getting nearer and all the Filipino people have been registered for the upcoming election. Anak, hindi talaga. Hindi pa yung all
Kulang
the
pa.
Filipino people. Kulang
Hindi tayo
pa,
full
kulang pa.
force. Habol pa hanggang
Kulang
September
pa.
30.
Habol. Pero maganda yung question niya, Yana. What is your message to the future leaders here in the Philippines? Is there an expectation that we need and what are those?
Sa language natin, Father, ano ang mga green flags? Ano yung mga expectations natin? Okay.
Sige, gawin natin.
Mm.
Baka sa usapan, yung isa, let's say green flag and then red flag.
Okay. Sige, let's start siguro with the green flags, no? Ano yung mga expectations na dapat makita natin sa isang future leader ng bansa natin?
I think I would go first.
All right, Joshua.
Ayan. So, I think the expectations that we really need to expect from our applicants or from the next or the future leaders of the Philippines is, of course, let's anchor it to the preamble. They are actually serving the people and they should have an ambition of a just and humane society. When you say just, so they are spreading or they are up for equality and they should always strive for integrity, government integrity. That's very, very important when it comes to politics. And also, we should have this vision of, they should also have this truth, justice. They'll be serving us with truth, justice, freedom, love, equality, and peace. So those are the things that we should always expect from all the candidates, that they should be serving the people in this manner, not the other way around, not us serving them in this manner, but they to them, they to us.
Dax. Okay. Anyone would like to respond also to Resha? Resha, thank you very much for your question. Sa totoo lang, thank you for participating. Di ba yan? Nakakatuwa.
Nakakatuwa po.
Carlo,
Gaganda ng
you want
mga
to say?
tanong.
I think if I were to talk to my leaders face to face or have an opportunity, I think what we need is not just a president but future leaders that can unify. Dami kasing away na yun sa politika natin. I think we're in a situation na dapat united ang Philippines pero ang different political parties natin and different politicians natin nag-aaway. I think once we unify, we can move forward. And going into the elections, I hope that we can have a set of future leaders that have a plan, direction, alignment, leadership for our pandemic, for the education of our students. Marami na pong bata nag-iiyakan kasi hindi sila makaaral. Hopefully, we can give them an opportunity to learn and to be educated. So I hope that's the expectation that I have and I hope that resonates with the fear of our audiences. Yun lang po.
Okay.
Alright.
Thank you very much, guys. O, Yana, baka ikaw nandito para kay Rapli.
Eto, meron din po tayong question from Rapli. A sad reality of our election scenario is that there are communities, mostly those below poverty line, who have utang na loob because of some petty favors from politicians who buy them, air quotes. They easily drown out the votes of the informed. How can we campaign against or eradicate that scenario? Ganda rin ng tanong, no? Parang na-touch na din natin yung some aspects of it earlier, eh. Pero maganda rin, no?
Yes.
Nasagutin natin.
Hello po.
Right.
Alright? Sino?
In response po to the question, as a political science student, no, or even as just a student leader, parang the responsibility is 2 times heavier to inspire others or to educate others. Parang ang bigat-bigat po ng shoulders kasi you have dreams for your country, you have dreams for yourself. So how do you act on that dream? Of course, that's to inspire and to educate. So these people are probably just misinformed or they hold different principles, but then we don't hold this against them. No, it's not their fault. As what the other I think that was Jerick who said nga, they're just victims of this kind of mindset. So we have to educate them. We have to engage in a fruitful, meaningful, and respectful discussion. We hear them out. We hear their side, why they believe in this, why they believe in that, and we try to educate them or to correct them.
So again, dialogue na naman, ano? Dialogue na naman ang ina-highlight natin dito. Alright. So sige.
Yes, Mariel,
Yes.
you wanna say something?
Yes po. So,
Okay, game.
Yun nga po na. So, in reality po talaga na karamihan sa matatawag po ba sa flying voters? Flying voters po ba yun? Ayun nga po na. So, kalimitan na nabibili yung boto po nila. So, they vote kasi gusto nila ng change. But then, kumbaga parang nabayaran. So, nalipat. Diba? So, yung gusto nila na change is nalipat na sa iba. So, na-mislead na. So, sayang po talaga yung mga, yung ano nila yan, yung vote nila. Kasi diba, we all have the right to vote. So, meaning na dapat po talaga is you stand for yourself. Dapat talaga na hindi ka talaga papatinag na because hindi ko rin po talaga kasi masasisi yung iba kasi they need baka personal reasons kaya gumaya, ganun. But then we all have a different reason kaya ganun po yung nangyayari. So para po sa akin lang talaga is stand for yourself kasi it's your right.
Yeah, okay. So now, I guess this is the point wherein, ang dami pa nating questions, kaya lang it's already 3:55. So,
Napasarap
thank you
ang
very much,
kwentuhan,
really, because
Father.
of your engagement. Di ba, nakakatuwa naman to. At saka yung participation ng ating mga kabataan all over the Philippines. We have discussed already what are our dreams. Di ba, yun ang pangarap natin sa ating bansa, sa ating sarili, sa ating pamilya, kaibigan, di ba? Tapos, ang susunod na question, di ba, pinag-usapan na natin ngayon with all of your live questions and the questions from the registration, where we are now. So, in order for us to reach that goal, kumbaga, what can we do? So, ito na yung, how are we going to get there? I think that question is very important. Now, there are many ways to get there. And that would always be dependent on whether your goal, your patutunguhan is clear, and whether you know where you are now. That will be very, very clear unless you are able to see all of this clearly. So we can ask now examples of how to get there from our student leaders. Guys, you know that they have a lot of advocacy. So ang question ngayon ay, how do we get there, and what would be your individual solutions in a way or response to what is happening now and vis-a-vis your dreams. And maybe you guys can invite many of your fellow youngsters, fellow youngsters, to really be part of your own advocacies. Okay, pwede ba? Okay lang ba yon sa inyo? I'm sure, no? Gumagano ka. Nakakatuwa naman to. Parang na-excite ako sa kanila lahat. Who's first? Di ba? Who wants to say something first?
Sige po, I'll start na lang.
Alright, Nia.
Hello po. So, what I do kasi is that I'm critical when it comes to somehow challenging the status quo in the system. That is why it's important for me when it comes to lobbying and policy making, lobbying your ideas to the elected officials. And of course, now that this is the height of we're going to, after the registration, we're going to enter the campaign period, then it's also critical din na maglalobby tayo ng mga ideas natin that these politicians or these candidates can implement when they are in office. That is why it's critical and important. Ako kasi I'm also a part of the National Propaganda Committee of a women's organization. And what we do there is we lobby these ideas to the House of Reps through a political party or a party list. That is why, ayun, importante kasi that if you have the access, hopefully, if you can find the right spaces and channels to lobby your ideas na gusto mong ma-implement. Kasi hindi enough na you just want to visualize what the Philippines would be or what my future I want it to be. Kasi you have to do your part also. It's your responsibility. That is why if you can find the right channels to lobby your ideas and deliver your concerns, please go and find them. And of course, we have different... social media is a powerful tool if you know how to responsibly use it. You can find different youth organizations campaigning for human rights and whatever advocacy that is aligned to yours. Go and find them and connect and make channels, of course, for your ideas and what you want to be, for the Philippines to be, and to prosper together through your collective actions. Yun ko.
Yes, thank you, Nia. Guys, if you want to go to Bacolod, you'll be very happy because sarap talaga ng pagkain nila. Maybe one of these days you'll be able to meet personally Nia when you get there, di ba? Why not, di ba? Thanks, Nia, talaga. Maraming salamat. Who's next, di ba? So, ayan, Jeric, nag-open ka na ng microphone.
Yes. Yun nga po, no, with the recent initiative by eto nga yung project of the SEAP, we have collaborated with them and also created our own projects to address the problem of the upcoming election, no. So we created a hashtag ambag ko boto ko, and from there, our department, the BA Communication Society, created a project, and nagde-devise din kami ngayon ng community extension programs na related sa sa pag-address nitong problem in terms of voters education. Tas yun, what I want to say is that there is one tagline na tumatak sa isip ko from a certain company, and that is an oil company, and yung sinabi nila na every drop counts, 'di ba? Kung na familiar po kayo dun sa tagline na 'yon, every drop counts. If every drop counts in terms of oil or that kind of necessity, why not the votes? Every vote counts too, because it is also a necessity that is far important than those materials, di ba? Kasi this will determine our future. And to end what I'm saying po, I would like to invite everyone na hindi pa pag-register na mag-register na kayo if you are afraid of the because of the threat of caused by the pandemic. Maybe you can ask for help from your elderlies, di ba? Or sa mas nakatatanda sa atin at mas nakakaalam. So, ayun po. I also invite everyone to contribute to this great cause by also devising some activity or also joining activities that relates to voters education and also empowering the youth as well. So that's it. Thank you po. Thank you for listening.
Salamat.
Yay.
Salamat, Jerry. Tuloy mo yung ginagawa mo, lalo-lalo na pangarap mo sa media, di ba? Okay, marami na tayo sa media. Okay. Alright, go na. Sino next?
Hello po.
Okay, Michelle.
Yes. Yung main advocacy ko po talaga in life is about youth and youth empowerment. You know, I just want to leave a message to the young generation. We have to be involved. We cannot merely be content with being at the receiving end of change. Dapat tayo yung nagsisimula sa change, you know, because we have the voice, we have the energy, the creativity, the fresh ideas to be instigators of change within the community. So, you know, we can start with getting involved in different campaigns and advocacies like this one, voters education. You know, it does not have an age limit. So I just like to shine the spotlight on the advocacy program of the Department of Political Science at the University of San Carlos. We have a program called CHAMPS. It's Clean, Honest, Accurate, Meaningful, Peaceful, and Safe 2022 Elections. The department also has a program on DYRF Radio Fuerza in Cebu every Saturday noon. We've started that months ago with our voters education. So if you're in Cebu, please tune in to Radio Fuerza. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Michelle. Good luck on your advocacy. Now let's have Carlo this time.
Of course, good afternoon to everyone. Mayong hapon sa tanan. It's always an honor to be here with everyone. But of course, we are only 6 student leaders. In fact, the people viewing our stream are just a microcosm of the amount of students in the student population across the Philippines. Here's the thing. When creating your advocacy, it's normal to not really know what you want. I myself didn't really know what I want until I became a political science student. Today, I'm very passionate of voter engagement, making sure that people are politically aware. That's why the Samahan Central Board, if you have the opportunity to really check our page, Samahan ng Pinas, this is our voter engagement initiative. It's been going on for already weeks. And tomorrow, we actually have an event. But what does this initiative highlight? The importance of storytelling, narratibo, galing sa takbayan. Of course, from the grassroots themselves, from our different workers, sectoral storytelling from Mindanao. Because at the end of the day, when we have the facts, we have the data. The facts and the data will not be anything without the narratives from the people on the ground. And hopefully, this 2022 elections, makarehistro po tayo. Be part of the change of our country, have a voice. And if you haven't had the opportunity to register, of course, empower oneself, empower your family to register. Because at the end of the day, your vote is not only for yourself, para po sa pamilya nyo, para po sa mamamayan. Maraming salamat and I hope na all of us, especially our listening, will be registered. Thank you so much.
Thank
Okay,
you,
before
Carlo.
Joshua.
Para sa sarili, para sa pamilya. Yes, Father.
Before Joshua and Marielle, let's tell everybody, guys, stay because we're going to choose 5 winners. We will send you your prizes for registering and for staying. Okay?
Yes.
Next 5 winners. Okay. Okay, Josh, go in. Game na pade. Ika na tabi.
Ako po. Anyway, so my message and my advocacy is to register to vote, cast your vote, and be participant and observe in the your result. Observe what the result will give you. Ayan, so actually, the youth, let's all underscore youth's role for an improved electoral system and good governance. And the initiative of our organization, the Central Student Government of Universidad de Santa Isabel's webinar is actually already concluded that last September 20. But anyway, we had an activity, Our Rising Voices, Voters Education and Awareness Webinar. You can actually find that or watch all the talks given there. That's on the Central Student Government official Facebook page. Actually, we have invited 3 guest speakers only to talk about Uswag Pilipinas, lugar natin ay Makilahok Patungong Pagbabago, that's given by Dr. Arwin Serrano from the PPCRB. And we also invited former Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Nilu Sereno. She gave us a talk about Kamalayang Pilipino safeguarding integrity in voting for national election. And our last topic that was given there is given by Attorney Tino, Kabataang Pilipino Laban para sa Bayan. So you can actually find the recorded videos in the official Facebook page of the Central Student Government. And I hope na nakaregister na kayo, at sa mga hindi pa nakaka-register, magpa-register na po kayo. And as far as I remember, in Naga City, kahit may granular lockdown, meron tayong special cases that those who are going to the COMELEC, Commission on Election, to register to become a voter, papayagan po kayo as long as you have you observe all the precautionary measures for health safety, of course, and of course, always pray for a good election. Ayun lang po. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Joshua. And now let's have Marielle.
And so once again, good afternoon, everyone. Yes, so as a member of Verdirect Club of Notre Dame RVM College of Cotabato and an involved member of Young Educators Society, youth engagement is my advocacy since we are the people of the future. And as a youth and being part of the society, we have the right to voice out the issues that we're currently experiencing, as this may be source for candidates who will participate in the upcoming elections to build their platforms around. It is important to exercise one's civic participation and freedom of speech by expressing opinions in the current state of the country. So that is why I, Mariela Espanola, representing student from NDRVM, encouraging everyone, especially the viewers, this very moment watching all over the Philippines, to vote this coming 2022 election. You always have the right to choose whoever you want to be the leader. Vote wisely and never let them buy your right to vote. Laban Kabataan. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
Laban
you so
Kabataan.
much,
Ang ganda
Marielle.
kasi they just affirmed that as a young person, you can do something. 'Di ba?
Yes.
That kind of possibility. Oh, ito, game na tayo.
Ayan, sige Father, no. Kagaya ng pangako natin kanina sa mga nag-stay, sa mga audience natin, meron kaming special prizes sa lucky winners natin ng ating roleta. So, tingnan na natin. Ready na po ba? Ayan. So, we have 2,800 registrants at the moment. So, napakarami po. At 5 sa kanila ay may chance na manalo ng ating premyo. Ang una na dyan, first winner natin is si Mr. John Ralph M. Teman. So, ang ating ISFO po will be communicating to you via email para sa inyong prize. Sige, tingnan natin ang ating second winner.
Congratulations, Graham.
Congratulations! Okay.
John Ralph Teman.
Second winner natin,
Exciting.
Julian
Yay!
Faye O. Bonifacio. Congratulations! Third winner,
Faye Bonifacio.
third winner natin ay si Juliana Francine Z. Marfil. Fourth winner,
Ako ba? Juliana Francine Marfil.
alright. Fourth winner natin, Father, I see Riza May Mayordo Patadilla.
Patadilla.
And last
Okay.
winner natin, I see Middle Grace
Middle Grace
Tonakaw.
Tonakaw.
Ayan, congratulations. So, hintayin nyo na lang po ang message sa inyo ng ISFO
Middle
through your
Grace
email.
Tonakaw. Congratulations.
Alright, congratulations.
Yeah, di ba? For those who, kasi medyo mabilis yung pag-flash natin ng mga winners. Just in case kilala nyo sila, pakisabi sa kanila na they won something from SAYAP, AMRSP, and of course, the Ignatian Spirituality and Formation Office here in Ateneo de Davao. Okay, let's thank everybody now. Yana.
Ayan, maraming salamat po no, sa lahat ng unang-una nung pumunta sa atin ngayon. Kasama natin mga SEAP member schools ng mga students. No? Thank you very much to all those who have been with us and participated well. All the young people and students from Holo to Batanes, including those who are young at heart, who have been part of this event. Yan.
And of course, thank you to all our guests, to our young ones, our leaders, Jerry, Shania, Joshua, Michelle, Carlo, and Mariel, who have been very insightful in this chill conversation. Di ba? Parang chill lang tayo. Thank you to all those who made this event possible. Di ba? The Catholic Educational Association of the Philippines and the Association of Major Religious Superiors of the Philippines, and of course, the Ignatian Spirituality and Formation Office of the Ateneo de Davao University.
And we hope that you really find this event meaningful and insightful. At isa lang po ang mensahe namin para sa inyong lahat, everyone.
Okay, taas natin ang ating cup or whatever dala-dala natin. Taas natin,
Meron
guys.
pa.
So, yan. Okay, taas natin. Pakita natin, dala-dala natin. Everybody, we are encouraging to
Register and
vote. Yay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
everyone.
Thank you.
Go and register and vote. Salamat.
Sa ikaw at ako, tuto sa prinsipyong punyo at serbisyong totoo. Kahalintulad ni Kristo sa puwarang Katoliko. Pagkakaisa sa tulong at gawa, masasalamat pagbabago, ang misyon sa mundo magagawa sa bihag.